Hello, Propel families. I hope you're all doing well. I want to start off by saying how wonderful it is to have our scholars back in their classrooms and engaged with learning. As we all know, being back in classrooms, especially after the last year and a half, can be a bit of an adjustment for scholars in the first few weeks of school. Now that we have entered our 6th week of school, I'm asking for your help and support with some items that will allow our schools to operate more efficiently and effectively, and so that we can serve our scholars in the best way possible. First, we need your help with the mask mandate. I want to ask you to please talk with your child about the mask mandate. No matter our personal beliefs about the efficacy of mask usage to mitigate transmission of COVID-19, all individuals, including staff, scholars, and visitors in school buildings across Pennsylvania, are required to wear masks while in school buildings and on transportation. Importantly, we must wear masks properly by making sure that the nose and mouth are covered. This is an expectation and a requirement for every school in Pennsylvania, not simply a suggestion. We know that occasionally scholars forget to pull up their mask. It happens to all of us, but we're seeing too many scholars wearing their mask below the nose. It's very difficult for educators and staff to continuously remind scholars to pull up their mask. If this becomes a repetitive action or a scholar chooses not to follow a direction to properly wear their mask, they will receive consequences outlined in our Scholar and Family Handbook. We do not want this to happen to anyone, so please help us by talking to your child and making sure that they understand the expectation and, importantly, the why behind this expectation, which is to keep everyone in our school community safe. Next, please make it a habit to perform a uniform check before your scholar leaves home to go to school. We're seeing valuable instruction time slipping away because school leaders and educators must spend time reminding scholars about dress code expectations each day. Our dress code is intentionally simple, and the expectation is that families will support our dress code. Propel families have taken pride in our dress code since 2003. Although it may have changed slightly, that dress code is still a tradition and an expectation at Propel. We know that Crocs are very popular right now. However, Croc shoes are not a part of the dress code and are not permitted to be worn in school. If your child wears Crocs to school, you will be called to bring the scholar a pair of shoes that aligns with our uniform policy. Please help us out and make sure that your child is appropriately dressed in uniform as they enter the school building. If you need assistance with uniforms, please contact communications@propelschools.org. We can provide support if needed. Our health and safety team has recently updated Propel's plan so that our protocols and procedures always align with public health best practices. We know that COVID-19 information can be confusing, so we're streamlining our communication of Propel's processes. It's important for us all to know how Propel is handling COVID-19 in our schools. To provide answers to the most common questions that we hear, Propel has created a family FAQ for COVID-19. We'll be sharing this with you today so that you can have the most up-to-date answers to your questions. We truly appreciate your patience and support as we move forward together. Another area in which we need your support is with social media. A scary social media trend is currently in the news. There is a TikTok challenge floating around that encourages students to record themselves destroying school property and upload it on TikTok. Unfortunately, we had this happen at one of our schools this past week. The repairs are hundreds of dollars. Please talk with your child about being respectful of school property. Families will be liable for damage to school property caused by their child. We have always had respectful scholars in our buildings, and this year is no exception. Please remind your child that their school is their home away from home, and we must work together to ensure that we keep our buildings clean, safe, and welcoming for everyone. Because we all care for the children in our school communities, open lines of communication are very important for giving and receiving information. If you have a concern about your child or a situation that's happening in your child's school building, we ask that you please reach out to your school's leadership team. They can provide the best answers to you. It's easy to feel frustrated when we don't get answers as quickly as we might like, or get an answer that we don't like. But remember, we have the same end goal, and that's making sure that we're providing an excellent education for your children and our scholars. The best way to do this is to be respectful to one another and work together in the best interest of scholars and school communities. Propel's Scholar and Family Handbook outlines the channels of communication that are available to you and remind us all that having a calm, two-way conversation is the best way to solve problems. So I'm asking you, please work with us. You are our partners in education, and we thank you for the support that you give us so that we can continue to bring excellence in education to our scholars. We appreciate you. Thank you.